Hello, everyone. This is Doug Davis, broker in charge for Karambee Realty, and here with another session of Ask Doug. And yesterday, someone asked me about their condo, and they were worried about upcoming assessments for the fire sprinkler law that was enacted essentially in 2018, and that was after the July 14, 2017 Marco Polo fire that killed 4 people and did just millions of dollars in damages. I heard one figure of 100 million. I mean, the water that damaged the units below and around and surround, and the smoke damage, and the hallways and everyone's units and kitchens and cabinetry. It just goes on and on. They had no fire sprinkler system in that high rise. So this is about that and what's happening with the sprinkler law and the compliance and people's struggles to do this and get into compliance. And this is a buyer beware. So if you're buying into a building, you should find out what the sprinkler program is from your association or the association to be, on what they're planning to do and if they have any idea what the cost may be. So by now they should have some idea, because this is back in 2018. It's not a new topic here. But get this, Marco Polo, after all is said and done, has done a fire sprinkler retrofit, and it cost them $5.4 million to do that. And that means all the owners had to pay their pro rata share based on percent of common element of that bill. Oh my gosh. And get this, since the Marco Polo fire, as of last year, 2021, which was the closest I could get a number for, there have been 239 fires in condos. This is extraordinary. 239 fires in Honolulu since the Marco Polo. Wow. So, okay, so what happened is in 2018, they passed a law that said that within 3 years, you need to do an evaluation. That would be 2021, by 2021, and 7 years to install. And that means all the buildings wouldn't need to have all of their sprinklers in by 2025. Well, that hasn't happened, and it's not going to happen. And looking at the literature and the bills for an act and what's been passed, I would say all the dates are in flux. They have exact dates, but they keep moving them backwards. And then COVID hit, and that just wiped out all the dates. All of that has to be pushed back even further. And it's probably going to have to be pushed back, because I don't see how these associations are going to be, many of them, how in the world are they going to afford this? I mean, just some of them, they're going to bankrupt the associations. So this has got to take decades to be implemented, in my opinion. And beside that, they're pushing them up into some dates for compliance, but yet it takes 1 to 2 years to get a permit from the city to do their work. So, and here's an interesting fact. Last month, that was February 2022, there were 184 safety evaluations submitted and 12 passed. Yikes. So what does that mean? They had an evaluation, and the buildings had flaws that need to be correct to make them more fire safe. So for example, a lot of condos, we've enjoyed the trade winds blowing through our units, and people would have doors that were partially open, maybe Dutch doors or doors with grills in them, or openings along the side of the door. You can't have that. You have to have a fire rated door into the hallway to slow the fire down and things like that. Marco Polo, for the plumbing, the sewer pipes, the water pipes going up to each floor, one floor, second floor, third floor, the opening for that assembly of pipes was big enough, or is big enough, to crawl through. So the fire can just go from one floor to the next floor to the next floor. So those areas need to be sealed. So for example, those are the things that are not in compliance with fire codes. So that's why they don't pass. So they need to tweak these little things, which may cost a lot of money for these little things, to make it more fire safe. So the associations have the option of putting in a sprinkler system, which is way more expensive, no doubt. It's very invasive. It breaks up the hallways. You have to go into the units. You're cutting into the ceilings, or if it's concrete, then you've got to maybe box it in and hide the pipes as best as possible. It may go through walls that are tiled, and it'll break the tile, and you won't be able to match it, so you'll have to redo your improvement at your cost, of course, as owner cost, not association. I was reading that Pearl One, to upgrade their fire alarm system would cost 1.2 million, or 10 million for sprinklers. Seems a bit high, but maybe. If you're under 10 stories, so 9 stories or less, then you are exempted. And I think in part because the ladders and the water can get to lower floor units. But if it's a high rise, 20, 30, 40 stories, then they're really pushing for sprinklers. And so 10 stories or less, exempted. 10 or more, you got to do one of these things. That's about it. Little facts and figures about it. There's still time for the associations to do their evaluations, put in sprinklers if they can, if they have the money. If they're smaller, maybe they can afford it, maybe not. Also, condos that have outside hallways, not interior hallways, may be exempted from this law as well. So there you go. A little bit about the Hawaii fire sprinkler law and how it's evolving. And it's going to continue, I think, for decades forward. So there you go. Hope that was useful to you, and I'll give you a little update on where we're at with that. Until next week, thanks so much.